Hi everyone, and welcome back to the IT Hub. In our last video, we looked at creating the sponsorship deals table in the database. However, I forgot to enter or to create the composite key for the sponsorship deals. So I'm going to do that now before we move into the relationship, because in this video, the focus is going to be on creating the relationships between the tables. So we're going to open the sponsorship deals table, and I'm going to go to view, and I'm going to select design view. In order to create this composite key, we're going to do it between event ID and sponsor ID. I'm going to highlight both the event and sponsor IDs, and I'm going to click on primary key. You will notice that the primary key option appears on both of them, and that is how you create a sponsorship key. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go now to external data. But before I go to that, I'm going to close everything that I have opened here, because if I don't do that, I will not be able to effectively create the relationships. So I'm going to click on the database tools tab, and then in the relationships group, I'm going to click on relationships. Having done that, I'm going to, if the show table dialog box is not popping up, you can go ahead and click on the show table icon. That will show all the tables in the database. I'm going to highlight all three tables and click the add button. Then I'm going to close. All right, so on my screen now, I have the three tables that were added to the relationship grid. I'm going to rearrange this a little bit. I'm going to move the table. I'm going to click at the top of the table where the name appears, and I'm going to drag it to the side. I want to put the sponsorship deals table down in the middle here. Now, when we create relationships on common fields. And for the relationships to work, students, you have to ensure that the fields that you're joining the tables on, they look the same, the format is the same, the data type is the same, the field size is, everything about it has to be the same. Otherwise, it will not work. So we're going to create a relationship between events table and the sponsorship deals table using the event ID. The event ID originates in the events table. So I'm going to click on the event ID in the events table. So I'm going to put my mouse on it, click, hold it down, like your life depends on it. Drag it over and put it directly above. Notice how my pointer is pointing directly above the event ID in the sponsorship deals table. When you see that little square and the square with the plus sign come up, release the mouse and the edit relationships dialog box will appear. In this one, you're going to enforce referential integrity to ensure that there are no duplications across, and there's a record that will match a record in either table. I'm going to click on the create icon, and here we have a one-to-many relationship where you have one on the event side and the infinity symbol on the sponsorship deal side. Now we're going to create a relationship between the sponsors table and the field that is there is a sponsor ID. So I'm going to click on sponsor ID from the sponsors table, and I'm going to join it to the sponsors ID in the sponsorship deals table. Now I'm looking and I'm realizing that the sponsor ID is spelled differently in the sponsorship table. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to save what I have so far, and I'm going to close the relationship, and I'm going to go to the sponsors table. I'm going to go to the view for the sponsors table. So I'm going to say right click, design view, and I'm going to put a space here, just in case it creates any problems for me later on. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to close the table, and I'm going to go back to the database tools tab, click on the relationships, and I'm going to go ahead and recreate that relationship. So from sponsors table to the sponsorship deals table, I am not going to click enforce referential integrity because some of the events have duplications because they are sponsored by more than one sponsor. Okay, so I'm going to just click on the create icon, and that will create the relationship. And that, students, is how you create a relationship in the food, or create relationships generally in the Food and Rum Festival SB. If you have found the video informative, please remember to like and share the video with a nice thumbs up. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the IT Hub, what are you waiting for? Subscribe.